So when I transitioned out of playing and retired from playing in the fall of 1991, I wanted to go into scouting. So I got a phone call from the Chicago White Sox, and they wound up hiring me. So that was 32 years ago. So I've been scouting 32 years. I just had a real compassion and a pull, I believe, from the Lord to really step out in faith and try to reach coaches and scouts in my industry and to teach them what it means to be a disciple and what it means to build more disciples and to stand up with boldness as a believer and represent Christ in their field or in their profession. We started actually with a meeting at Chick-fil-A up at Lake Point in Cartersville, Georgia. And so that's where we had this first meeting in this baseball coaches and scouts Bible study with really just a handful of guys. And Mike Lynch was there. And I laid out kind of my vision and the plan that I saw and really asked Mike to really be a big part of that and lead this weekly. And Mike was gracious enough to do that.
You know, I think back to when this began in 2017, we had a couple guys, pro scouts, college baseball coaches said, we don't get to go to church. We don't get to get involved in a small group. What can we do? And I remember my IT guy at my church said, there's this new technology called Zoom. We could give it a shot, see if it works. And it began with 8 of us. And I look at where it is now. You run 70 to 80 people a week. It just took that group of guys reaching out and saying, hey, we need to do something. And I think about it now, I can't imagine not doing it. I can't imagine a Monday not gathering with that group to see what God is doing week by week. We've had 8 to 10 guys come to know Christ. We've had 2 baptized off the call that don't live in Georgia, but they came here for this, and other scouts gathered to see it. And it really is, our mission statement at our church is to love God, to love people, and to live sent. And when you live sent, you never know the difference it makes.
I've seen lives changed through this Zoom Bible study group. I've seen marriages change. I've seen passions and goals of coaches and scouts change. I've seen guys go from spiritually dead to spiritually alive. And there is nothing that brings me greater joy than watching that. Watching lives change right before your very eyes of guys that sit on these calls at times for 2, 3, 4 months and then reach out and say, there's something that you guys as a group have that I don't have. And just to watch these guys and these baseball coaches and scouts really become a family in some senses. The relationships that have been forged out of this has been powerful, and the impact that has been powerful of just watching these men go from just ordinary coaches to extraordinary disciples that are making disciples. What I want the average person out there that is a committed follower of Christ to understand, as you go to the grocery store, as you go to the ball field, as you go to work, you are to make disciples. As you are going through life, you are commissioned to go make disciples. It is not the great suggestion, but it is the great commission.